like sucking, but I ain't gay.
Legit bad podcast.
Fuck those honkies.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
He really knows how to suck a wiener.
Well, hey, welcome back to Legit Bat. This is first show back with a guest in, what'd you say, 6 weeks?
7 weeks.
It's been a while. It's been a long, hot summer. But we are back. I mean, for now, you know, I've about a month's worth of shows planned, so that'll be cool. If it's your first time listening, I'm Joe. Jen is with us.
Hello.
And a special guest, Jen's voice is back this week. So
it is sort of. It's still a little low and I don't know.
She's been breathing all the wildfire smoke, though, probably.
Maybe.
Also with us is Ben. Woo! I wish I had my cheers button because Ben's here. That's new. And our guest tonight is Katillist Jones from the White Rabbit podcast.
I feel like Ben is a little bit of a guest tonight on the show, too.
I kind of want to ask
feel like one.
Ben. And Katillist, too, of course.
But Katillist, I mean, you've been on our show. We've been on your show. But introduce yourself and what you do over at White Rabbit, besides being a moron.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a moron. Over there, we do this. We
ain't nothing but against the party.
Right. We just get stupid with it. We dive down crazy conspiracies. You guys know when I started out, it used to be really like geopolitical. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This is like the greatest WWF show I've ever seen in my entire life. So then I just switched my show up to dive down other conspiracies. However, we do like dip our toes in the water just like you guys do as far as like the geopolitical shit goes, but
mostly just
I like
to make
to do
fun
more
of it.
fun. Yeah, to a point. I mean, but then I'll find myself teetering back and forth. I'm like, man, maybe Trump really is a good guy, and maybe Q was legit. And I like look at the corner of my room, and I'm like looking at the Q hat that has like so much dust on it, and I'm like, is it time? I'm like, no, dude, don't be stupid. And then,
so you think that, and then you realize you're just high, and you're like,
yes, and then like the mushroom dose wears off a bit, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't even looking at a Q hat. That's crazy. That was my Oakland Raiders hat.
But yeah, what's been because we've been kind of out of the game for a little bit. So what's been waxing your candle lately?
You know, I really, really tried to stay away from the fucking Maui fires, but it's so in your face, just like transgenders. Like you cannot turn any direction without the Maui fires. And so I'm like, all right, because at a certain point, I'm like, I can't not listen to every single podcast. Like I need to fill my day with a podcast, at least one. And so I found myself like really digging into it after I heard a bunch of stuff. And today I was at work, man, and I listened to something and I forget who posted it, but it was somebody that lives out there, and she was on like a forbidden phone call or whatever, and it could totally be propaganda or whatever. But what I heard was this lady talking and crying, you emotionally felt her. So I'm at work and I started crying because she's talking about how she's seeing her friends and shit, the entire family in these cars, and they're just like fucking ash statues and shit. And I'm just like,
gross.
Yeah. And you know, there's a big fucking thing going on out there, and it's really been pulling at my fucking heartstrings lately.
What do you mean about what's forbidden phone call? What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think about the validity of them not being able to broadcast from Maui and stuff? Like they're limiting and we know how easily they're able to do that, being what we do. Like that we post one thing and they're like, oh, you guys are fucked for like a year and a half. Check this out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird shit going on over there right now with like walls being built or something. Like I heard somebody talking about walls being built. The response to it is very strange, and there's kind of like a media silence on it, and the whole thing is really weird. Like everything we've covered in the last few years, it's very strange. I don't know what to make of it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it was space lasers. I don't fucking know. I've seen pictures, but I don't believe that either. So
It doesn't really matter. You know, I was thinking about getting together with Paranoid American and beating them to the punch and seeing if we could like collab and do like an AI fucking movie, like maybe just like a 20-minute movie about the black curtain going up around in Maui. Actually, just do Maui in general and tell them like what we think is happening and show the entire gruesome thing. They're closing this shit off so that nobody can see what's going on in there. No drones or anything. For all we know, there's fucking soldiers in there working for Satan's fucking whatever fucking they're working for, in there just murdering these families that might have still had a chance, you know, for all we fucking know. So why not put out the most gruesome possible thing that we can and shine a spotlight on this? Because whether that's far-fetched, and I hope that it is, it might not be, but something foul is going on right now, and fucking children are losing their lives and families are being ripped apart, and people will never be the same again.
not only that, there's a bunch of missing people. Like they were talking about the count of missing people and kids. And
That's what I'm saying. How do we know they're not just fucking going through there and popping them off?
yeah, you'd think it'd be a little easier on a little island to like keep track of where it's not like they can really go that many places, you know? So it's kind of weird that they're missing on an island.
Well, another strange tidbit was that I saw a video, and at the time that I saw it, I hadn't seen it before, despite all of the Hawaii fire news. There was a guy that got out of his like neighborhood because he knew a back road that connected to the city. And the caption on this video was, if this is out there, it should be on every major news media platform. Basically, the guy had gotten stuck in a detour line to get out from the fires, but the line was halted. So he went on the shoulder of the road, drove down, and there was a cop blocking the road saying, I have orders to keep this barricaded, not let anybody out. And he goes, dude, like the fire is going to catch up to the line of cars. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm just following orders. So rather than trying to go around the cop, he went back a little ways and took a side road, like basically through the trees where there wasn't a road, until he got to a road, made it to the city. And before he made it out of there, he started hearing the popping noises and the explosions happening from the cars that were in the back of the line. And later on, they did a count and they said, yeah, people were basically sitting in their cars waiting to go, not getting out because they thought they were going to be allowed to go. And much like the car fire, it just overtook them fast enough that they weren't even able to get out of their car. And so a whole line of cars, families, everything, even like family pets, like dad, mom, kids, they were just burned alive in their cars as they exploded.
Yeah,
Neat.
it's fucking horrible. I heard that exact same story too.
Yeah.
And I'm an empath, and so I'm feeling this shit really hard. And my boss asked me, so the past 2 days, this entire week, I've really been feeling it. But today I've been able to be cool, because when I feel myself submersing into something so much where like I'm absorbing too much, then I will fucking start listening to dumb ass music, which is why I sent you that song today, because I'm like, what is like the most dumb song that I know? And I was like, actually, I wrote it.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I talked to Katillist earlier. I'm probably going to use that as the outro on the audio show, at least. So if you're listening to the audio show, I'll put that song as the end track, because it's pretty funny. You sound kind of like Eminem in it, actually.
I purposely did that. If you listen to any of my other songs, I sound completely like Katillist Jones in those ones. So,
I mean, you sound white, so there's that.
Right. That was meant to be a comedy song.
That's
And
great.
It came like when I did that, who was it? There was the guy that I can't remember his name. Is it Lil Dicky?
Yeah, love him.
Yeah, he just came out. And I was like, damn it, dude. I'm like so sick of this. I spent 10 years doing this shit and fucking opening up for people that I don't even fucking like. Like, when is it my turn? And I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm just going to give up. So
Oh, that's always an option. You know, if you're failing at something, you just give up.
Well,
Start
no,
something else.
actually, the reason I quit music, honestly, was because I started diving into occultism and seeing what really happens and how to make it in music. And, like the most important person in my life is and was my daughter. And, I wasn't willing to roll the dice and play Russian roulette and see if she was going to be sacrificed for my fortune and fame. So I just said, fuck this shit. I'll find something else to do.
That's a whole ass rabbit hole there. I think it's Isaac Weishaupt, Magic Behind the Mic. He has a book, and yeah, he goes into all these different cases of celebrities and musicians and all that very, very coincidentally, of course, have some kind of weird shit happen to a kid or a mom, and then all of a sudden they blow up on the scene and they're huge stars. Could all be coincidences, but I mean, if you've looked into this at all, I mean, yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. I know what you're talking about. You can like name certain celebrities and I'll tell you who it was that they sacrificed. So
Jay-Z, because we know him and Beyonce are warlocks and witches of like the highest order, obviously.
yeah, absolutely. And that's a great one. I don't know about Jay-Z specifically, but I do know that they do this like embryo shit where they have people that will have kids for them and they basically take care of these people and then they get impregnated and then they sacrifice these kids. So like
It's so weird.
But you know that for a fact?
no, absolutely not. I know that
Oh.
theory.
I'm like, I have not heard
I
of this at
know
all. What are you talking
this
about?
is a theory that's floating out there.
Okay.
And it comes back to a lot of elites actually. That's why that human trafficking and missing children are such a big fucking commodity, and that's why people like John of God and Jeffrey Epstein wanted to basically fucking impregnate so many people, not only to spread their seed but to have their blood to sacrifice.
Gross.
I mean, if you've ever looked into occultism, that makes sense.
Yeah,
in
it's
theory.
100% believable. I'm not discounting it at all. I was just like, whoa, is this common knowledge? Because I've never heard it, but I can 100% see it being a thing.
Right. But like in the world of hip hop, so you got Eminem who sacrificed his Uncle Ronnie, and then you have Dr.
Wait, go into that. Wait, hey, slow down a little bit. I'm not unfamiliar with this story.
You're unfamiliar with it?
Yeah, I don't know much about Eminem besides that he's called Slim Shady.
Oh, okay. Well, he talks a lot of times, not a lot of times, but in multiple songs, he speaks of his Uncle Ronnie. And his Uncle Ronnie was actually not much older than him. They were only a couple years apart in age, if I'm not mistaken. And he was really trying to become a hip hop artist, and his Uncle Ronnie is the one who introduced him to like the Beastie Boys and all of these really influential people apart that in Eminem, who was like basically his mom was really a drug addict. His dad was never really there. So this was like the only person other than Kim that he had to attach himself to. So he was like one of the most important people in his life. And from what records show, he was actually more gifted than Eminem was in as far as lyrics go. And so fast forward.
He must have been amazing then. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but Eminem is such a word sleuth. Like I would love to hear his songs.
Do you like old Eminem or do you like new Eminem?
I like both. I love Eminem.
I'm more familiar with the old stuff, obviously, but
yeah.
Right. And so you guys know I've been working on like this behind the scenes thing with Eminem's Not Dead, and I really want to put out this, like I'm doing like a whole visual thing, and I just keep putting it to the back burner. So I'm like, oh, I have more important things to do, but I do bring it back up and I'll add more shit to it. That is coming out. I'm not putting a date on it, but it will come out. But Eminem is definitely dead, and the person that we see in front of us is much a Biden fucking like same scenario going on. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like we talk about it a lot, but the clone thing is endlessly fascinating because there's so many people. Before we get into that though, the one thing I never get talking about deep rabbit holes is the whole group of people that think literally every celebrity is a dude. Like they're like Jennifer Aniston is a dude. I'm like, if that's true, let's put it this way. If that's true, they were way better at doing transitioning people like 30 years ago than they are now. Because have you seen the ones coming out now? They don't look like Jennifer Aniston. Like, are you serious?
Is it your show that I heard this on where you guys were like, I think it was you, or was it Cult of Conspiracy, where they were like, they're saying that motherfuckers believe that like The Rock is a trans. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I don't think that was our show.
I might as well just fucking go off myself right now, because I can never feel like a man if The Rock is actually born a fucking woman. Give me a goddamn break.
I don't know, man. He did that fucking Tooth Fairy fucking movie. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a Jai underneath of there.
Have you ever stood next to him, or have you ever seen? Oh, actually,
I'm Kevin Hart compared to him. Are you shitting me?
Let me Jen Psaki this motherfucker right now and circle back to what we were talking to earlier in this bitch, and Maui this motherfucker in here. Did you guys see the video of Oprah and the motherfucking Rock standing right next to her while she's like begging people to donate for Maui? Have you guys seen this? And The Rock is standing right next to her. I'm like, bitch, you donate to Maui. Instead of fucking a car for you, you get a car, you get a car. How about this is my fucking hometown? You get a house, you get a business, you get a house, your property's fixed. And then you got The Rock fucking sitting there right behind her. And these natives knowing goddamn well that this bitch is behind it because she wants their property. And then they see their own native celebrity standing right next to her, fucking co-signing to what she's doing. I'm sorry. Hey, Ghost and Ryan Dean, that's cunt of the week right there is fucking The Rock.
Well, and Oprah. I think Oprah could win cunt of the week almost any week. That I don't trust that bitch at all. There's something weird about her.
Though. That is a sacrifice right there. That's how we reel this in. That is also a sacrifice. He is sacrificing his face. He is showing to his own people that he would rather fucking stand with these satanic pedophiles than actually stand with his own people while they're actually being invaded. And that's exactly what this is. They're being fucking invaded. It's like not raiders like the Oakland or Las Vegas Raiders, but like actual pillaging and fucking murdering.
So yeah, we're all over the place on this episode, but that's fine. That's par for the course for Legit Bat. But
we kept it to three conspiracies so far.
Oh yeah, the show's not.
We haven't finished the one about Uncle Ronnie. I didn't know
they all tie in.
So just quickly, how did Eminem actually sacrifice his uncle? Just to circle back.
Okay, so I don't know exactly how, but he went to the Rap Olympics. Supposedly, Dr. Dre gets a hold of this tape. His Uncle Ronnie dies. He turns into, or no. He goes to another battle and he wins that motherfucker. And he starts getting a buzz for himself. Then his Uncle Ronnie dies. Then he switches to his alter ego, Slim Shady. And if you guys know anything about like the dyeing, the bleaching of your hair and stuff, it's actually showing like a shedding of your old self and coming into something else.
And that's a lot of them. Like with Beyonce, she says when she's on stage, she changes into an entity or a persona called Sasha Fierce, and that takes over for the entirety of her show. That in itself is a fucking weird thing to say.
Well, and that's why in his songs, one of his older stuff, he said nobody wants to see Marshall anymore. He's chopped liver. It's like once they got a whiff of like, oh, he's got a stage name and a presence, and he's bleaching his hair, and he's got this new stage persona. That's what we want to see all the time on all of the records and this, that, and the other. And he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to go out there with my regular name.
Same thing with Britney. There's a lot of the, I mean, we're adding in another one here, the Project Monarch or like MK Ultra style shit. Britney's a whole rabbit hole in herself. Probably has a couple rabbit holes in her. Okay, am I right? She, the whole thing when they go to rehab, all these celebrities will go to rehab and then they like shave their heads. They lose their shit, go to rehab, they say, and then when they come out, they're like, ding, reprogrammed. It's weird. If you look at the amount of times that's happened, I think even Kanye had an instance of that too. It's really strange. Anyway, sorry, I rabbit trailed off. Ooh, see what I did there?
Oh,
So I was gonna ask you about the Maui thing though. What do you
has
oh you
recently dyed his hair or bleached his hair correctly.
oh really?
Well, I'm thinking about like all these people and like what the fuck happened to Kanye. He was speaking out, and then he said, if I disappear and I come back, just know it's not me.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did say that. He was talking about tiny hats quite a bit there. Ah, forgot about that. No, I was gonna ask you about the Maui thing though. What's your opinion on who's behind, assuming somebody's behind it and it wasn't just somebody tossing a cigarette into a bush? There's a lot of speculation that it could be foreign, like China or something. China. But I would more tend to be suspicious of our own government than that. Like, what does China have, to burn down Lahaina? Like, I don't, who knows? Maybe they do, but I would think more our own government. But what do you think about that?
Honestly, and this is just my speculation, I don't think it's government. I just think that government is helping to cover up their buddies. I think that like Oprah and her friends, if you look into the celebrities that are owning shit out there where they're trying to actually come under these people and do it, they're actually trying to buy this shit. Now, there's also the theory out there that they're trying to turn this into like a 15-minute city type of thing.
Oh, you're going to get censored on Instagram if you say that. I've already seen fact checks on that.
Oh, really? Maybe they're
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Explain that. I don't know what 15-minute cities are.
just about to say, I'm not really sure that I buy into this. However, oh my God, how many conspiracies are we going to go through? All right. Did you guys listen to, I feel like I'm not giving anybody a chance to talk here.
You're the guest. No,
You're the guest.
go. Please.
You're here to talk.
Yes.
You guys listen to fucking Kill the Mockingbird's latest episode where they fucking went in on Donald Trump to the point where people's ass cheeks are getting so tight right now.
That's what they do over there. They keep the butt cheeks tight.
No, we haven't heard it. Fill us in.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ruin their show. I'm just going to go say, go listen to that motherfucker, because whatever little feelings you're holding on to, like, is Donald Trump a good guy? Maybe, like, I'm on the fence. Like I was just saying at the beginning of the show, go listen to that shit and then go fact check. Not Google, but actually go fucking look into everything that they say, and you might be thinking differently.
I would hope so. They're all scum. I don't understand why any politician is put on a pedestal. They're all fucking scum. You don't get up into that position without burning quite a few people and doing naughty things to get up there. Like, there's no way I could ever become president. That's a different story. But
Or getting offed because you won't burn people. It's like, it's always one or the other. It's like, once you get onto the platform, one of two things are happening. Either one, you're getting paid to go do the shit they want you to do, or two, you never made it to that platform because you refused to do the shit that they wanted you to do. It's like, you don't ever see, it's never the one that you think it is. It's always the opposite.
Right. Oh, you're not going to fuck this kid? Okay, well, now you're
Right.
done. Yeah.
Because we don't have any blackmail to control you on the decisions that you might make.
Right.
Think that they're fully controlled though, like I really do feel that Donald Trump has an ego, and they're letting him there. It's like when you go bowling with your kids and you put like fucking the bumpers up, right? They got bumpers up. They're letting Trump fucking throw his ball down that lane as hard as he fucking wants to, but it's gonna stay in that fucking lane.
Yeah, it can squiggle back and forth, but it's still gonna, I mean, it all just seems so planned after a while. And so, I mean, for lack of a better word, a conspiracy. But yeah.
Yes, go and listen to their episode. I just asked Sean, because you guys know he's one of my best friends. So I don't know if they're willing to start jumping on other people's show to like talk about what they disclosed on this episode. But like, I'm telling you, man, I was floored because I even listened to Whitney Webb. Was it Whitney Webb? No, it wasn't Whitney Webb. It was Amy Says What the Fuck. Went on.
Is she back in action? I haven't heard from her in years.
She attempted to come back, and she came on to Deplorable Janet's Deplorable Nation show. under a different name. It was like Amy Speaks Truth or something like that. And fucking she started saying some stuff about Rockfin, I believe. Man, I don't want to get like triggers put on people anymore. Actually, never mind. She said some shit that people got pissed off about, and so she disappeared again.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, that happened the first time too. That's weird.
I thought she was using her full real name because she didn't want to hide behind a pseudonym anymore.
I mean, when you get death threats and they're coming from people that you really think that they mean what they're saying, you know?
Yeah, sure. It's completely understandable to hide from that.
At one point, you know, it's like, yeah, I understand this happens. And it's also like when my kids get kidnapped, you know, it's like, fuck, I know that's a reality, it's a possibility, but then it happens to you or somebody that you know, and you're like, holy fuck, dude, this just happened.
Now it's real.
Exactly, right? Like my friend, and it's you know, and I'm not gonna bring his name up. Anyway, happened. They offed his ass. And it made me fucking think about things a lot differently. And you know, that's another story too.
Damn. Yeah, I don't blame anybody who wants to disappear from society. That's kind of a life goal for me. A little hard to do in the digital age, but I'm sure we could figure it out. We talk about this a lot too, disappearing. But did you answer my question about what do you think's behind the Maui fires? Like your own personal opinion. Doesn't have to be based on fact. Speculation's great. We love that.
What do I think is truly behind it is I'm not really sure what the end goal is, but I do know that every time they pull something like this, there's multiple things in place, right? So I know what they gained from me. What they gained from me is they drained all of my positive fucking energy because I had nothing but fucking like empathy for all these people out there that are going through this shit. That's what they gained from me. And
So you think it's a loose trap like everything fucking else is?
I think that everything is a loose trap, but that's not their only agenda, right? So there is physical agendas taking place here. Like I said, they are going to turn whatever their agenda is for that land, and the people that didn't want to sell, they're going to sell. They have no fucking choice now but to sell. So they got that goal across as well. And I'm sure that if we looked into it, if we asked like a New York Patriot or somebody that's like into like the esoteric stuff or whatever, would be probably tell you that there was something happening that aligned with something that's happening in the skies. So I don't know.
Wasn't it on 8/8/2023 that the fire started? I think fact check me on that one, but I thought I heard maybe it was Mike on OBDM talking about that, about how the fire started on 8/8. There was something else that happened on 7/7 this year. And if you've listened to this show very much, you know that numerology drives me fucking insane because I don't know how, like, it is weird that this shit matches up, but really there's only so many numbers, so it eventually shit is gonna add up at some point. I mean,
Right there with you. I get so pissed off at people when they're like, can't you see this? I'm like, no, I can't. Because I'm like, you can fucking manipulate any number that you want. Like, why did you decide to add those two numbers up, but not that number up? Of course, you're going to get fucking 13.
yeah, or like the 33 thing. And I get how many like references there are to 33. Jesus was 33. There's 33 vertebrae, 33rd degree of Freemasonry. Okay, I get it. Maybe it's all connected, but what does it mean? Tell me what it means.
Dude, I'm sure that there is a connection to it, but my brain cannot fucking comprehend that shit. And I think it's due to the fact that my stepfather was a fucking asshole when it came to helping me with my math homework. And it was like, are you fucking stupid? And I'm like, so every time I hear like math shit, I'm like, nope, fucking shut down. Like probably some PTSD shit that I never dealt with that I should probably deal with on a room trip one of these days. So
Hey, if that's the worst
Hey,
thing your stepdad did to you, you lucked out.
Right. And to be fair, were you doing Common Core or was it regular normal math?
I was born in 1980, man. I fucking lived a life.
You got hooked on phonics
I
and
was
everything.
born in 1980 also, so that's cool. So yeah, Common Core. When our kids were doing Common Core, we're like, we're too stupid to do this. We were like the opposite of your stepdad. We're like, you guys know so much more. Teach us Common Core, I guess. We can't even help you.
Oh no, man. I lived with parents that both had violent parents. And
Oh,
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into that shit, but like that, like let's just say like over a math problem, I had a fucking coffee mug hit me in the fucking head because I called one of my parents stupid, and I wasn't allowed to go to school for a week, and they said I was on vacation.
You weren't
because
allowed to go to school?
He wasn't, probably because he had a bruise on his face and they didn't want him to call CPS.
Klingon from fucking dude, I was fucked off. I had
Damn.
the lump on my fucking head.
Wow.
Joe,
Okay, damn.
I fact checked you. Yes, it was 8/8/23. Now, here's some statistics according to the ever trusted Wikipedia.
That was your
Um,
favorite resource when we first started the show, and I gave you endless shit about it.
It was. And there was a lot that I also thought that I don't anymore. So it says so far deaths are 115, missing people 388. It says non-fatal injuries 67, and it says the cause is downed power line propagated by dry conditions and high winds.
Of course.
Now
Dry
the weird-
conditions. It's humid as fuck over there. They're an island.
The most believable part of this
There was high winds.
is the acreage. Obviously, from us coming in California and there always being a shitload of fires, it's only 17,000 acres.
On an island though, that seems like a lot.
Well,
Hey.
it's over. That's a collective 4. That's 4 different fires that they have collected into that acreage that they are calling the Maui fires.
I want to look up, Ben, do this while we're talking. Look up the last time Hawaii had a wildfire. And the thing that is weird about this is they called it a wildfire,
Yeah.
but I looked at the
Wildfires.
pictures.
They
You-
actually have every 2 years.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
just thought it was weird they called it a wildfire when it was houses for the most part and cars.
And
You
a
know?
fire at first, and now they're changing the terminology to wildfire, and there's a reason for that. Where is Ryan Dean? I sent this to Ryan Dean, and if you guys don't mind, I'll play the audio. I don't want to like download it so that I could share screen, but if you guys don't mind, I'll play the audio.
Oh yeah, do it through your mic or whatever.
Yeah, let me find Ryan.
I mean, oh no, never mind. We're super professional. You can't do that.
Dead air. Hang on.
Oh no, we can fill dead air. Watch this.
Have you seen my wiener?
More dead air. All right.
Yes, science.
I am the god of fuck.
Mega doo-doo.
How's that?
I guess keep going.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, we could do this just to piss off bootstrappers.
Here we go.
Oprah Winfrey has been securing Maui land like it's a trending bestseller. In just 2023, she invested in a vast 520-acre plot for $3.89 million, then went for another 330 acres at $2.47 million, not to mention the two 10-acre patches she bought in 2022 for $100,000 each. From a mere 100 acres in Maui, Oprah now commands over...
Bro, isn't that not like the cheapest fucking prices you've ever heard, especially in Maui? Are you kidding?
Yes. That was my first thought being in real estate. I was like, wow, that sounds super cheap. It sounds like they're trying to make it sound like she spent a lot of money, but 2 plots for $100,000 in Maui. That's wild.
That bitch pisses that much money in the morning.
Yeah.
Look at her.
My fucking first thought was that's super fucking cheap. Then I had no idea that this happened prior. So let's keep going.
22 for $100,000 each. From a mere 100 acres in Maui, Oprah now commands over 1,000 acres. But here's the twist. Amidst this real estate surge, a sudden fire happens, destroying homes nearby, but leaving her vast terrains unscathed. Does that ring a bell? Think back to 2017. A deadly fire consumed homes near her Montecito mansion. Yet once again, Oprah's property emerged untouched. And after that event, she expanded her Montecito land holdings to a whopping 70 acres, even snapping up a 4-acre complex in 2019, which was decimated by mudslides shortly after the 2017 fire. The connections, the acquisitions, and the timing are definitely food for thought. Stay tuned with us for more mysteries and money.
Interesting. So they always talk about the white devil. Is she like the black devil?
Bro, I think that she signed in. I think she was so accepted because she did Roots. And I think what Roots did was root fucking racism within this generation. Because I didn't know what the fuck racism was. And they made us watch Roots in school. And then I'm like, wait, what? My friend Arthur is different than I am? Like, I knew he looked different, but like, I never like looked at him differently.
Dude,
Now
I
I'm
was
like,
the same way growing up, same way in Massachusetts. It's just a melting pot. I just didn't care. Like I knew they looked different, but no one cares.
No, that wasn't even a thing we thought about. We'd watch old movies like or like old shows like Little House on the Prairie, and there'd be the one black guy in there, and they'd make everybody, like some people, seem like they were super racist against him. And as a kid, I'm like, why do they hate? I don't even understand this concept. Like, why is that a thing? And then it's been pushed so much in the last like 10, 20 years where everybody's just like, yes, all white people are racist and we all hate black people and Asians.
It's
So
because the media portrays it that way. They take a very, very small percentage of the population who maybe hates other races,
yeah,
and
I'm
they
not
make
saying
it look like
doesn't
that's
exist.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
of course it exists, but it's such a minute percentage.
is this? I know way more black racist people than I know white racist people. And don't get this twisted. I'm not saying black racist people that hate white people. I'm saying black racist people that hate black people. I'm
That's
like,
not racism. You can't do that according to PC stuff. That can't happen. You know this.
people, and they will go the fuck off. And it's like, are you kidding me? It's like you're hung up on this like entire stigma. It's almost like you are pissed off because people are fucking acting a fool that share the same skin tone as you, but you refuse to see the fact that there's people acting a fool in every fucking color, shape, size, and fucking whatever Crayola you want.
Yeah, most of them actually, I would
Well,
say.
That's why I think it's ridiculous. It's like, do you also poop? How about wearing shoes? Oh, we all do that as well. It has blaming anything for the fact that they have a different skin color, whether it be white, black, the old school, yellow. It's like you can't blame that for the reason why it's like, okay, culturally, sure, you want to get into those demographics, you want to get into lower income inner city projects. That's a whole different thing. That isn't based off of their skin color. Yes, you could go into the whole, it's predominantly one skin color. But if you break it down into individual people, it's like their skin color has nothing to do with why they act the way they act. They didn't come out of the womb ghetto. That's part of
that's nature versus nurture type of shit. Yeah.
Whatever cultural paradigm that they were raised in.
That is hilarious. I actually had to break from that because
that's the whole and a lot of people do. You hear those stories on the news like, hey, I was raised without a father. I saw drive-bys growing up. We had to sell drugs when I was 8 just so that I could eat because my mom was passed out on the whatever the fucking case. And the only thing I could do for my brothers and sisters was think, how am I going to get out of this? And they rose above it and they found a way to get out. You hear those stories all the time. So
you hear those stories from everyone in the world, though. Everyone in the world has those stories.
Nothing to do with this.
World. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, is I was always a Democrat by fucking default, simply because I was born in Alameda County, so Oakland, and then I lived in Hayward, and then I lived in Fremont. Okay, that's what fucking made me a person. That was my first. Okay. And then in middle school, my parents moved me up into the fucking mountains of Northern California. And I wasn't like the minority. Now I'm like, where is any colored people at all? And I shouldn't say colored people, but fuck you. I don't give a shit.
The correct term is people of color, because if you switch words around, it's less offensive now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. People of color. That's right. I heard that. Like that motherfucker instead of motherfucking white person instead of motherfucking white person or some shit like that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in how you phrase it. Yeah. It's very important.
Okay. So anyways, it was a culture shock to me, right? And I couldn't do anything but want to get the fuck away from there, because I'm like, fuck these redneck motherfuckers. They have no idea what the fuck the real world is about. By the time I hit high school, I'm popular as shit. And I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool, but I'm a skateboarder and I want to surf, and like, fuck the mountains. I can't wait to get out of here. And now I'm 43 years old and I want to retire, and I want to go right back to that place that I could not wait to get the fuck away from.
That's because of all the whites. We know you're racist. That's fine.
Hey,
That's funny. I'm the same way though. My dad growing up, like he was always like, yeah, I want to have a cabin in the woods. I'm like, you old fogey, like who wants that? Then I visited a couple big cities and I was like, yeah, maybe right. This sucks. And so yeah, when people talk about how America's like so racist and everything, okay. We have more diversity here as far as different races and cultures than literally anywhere else in the world. Have you ever been to China? China, as you could imagine, is all Chinese, like all of it, to the point where our friend Lindsay Sharman from Rogueways went over there on a trip several years ago, and she had people pulling her aside and asking if they could take a picture because they had never seen a white person, or it's very rare. So they're literally doing selfies with the white person. Can you imagine if I'm in the downtown San Francisco and a Chinese person walks by and I'm like, oh, please, can I take a picture with you? Like, that would be super racist because I'm like, look, it's an Asian. Like, oh my God.
She said it was super customary for those people to put a pic. It would be like a picture with a celebrity. They'd be like, they'd hang it on their wall and be like, look, this is me with this white person. Check it out.
Yeah, it's wild. Like people that think that America is super racist and discriminatory have clearly never been anywhere else.
Because of the media just trying to cause divide. They're like, ooh, look at all these people getting along. What can we do to make this not work?
Well, that's when you know that we've hit a all-time boredom, is because it's like, what else can we do to cause an issue? We'll pick out this one. We know it's not really one, but we'll throw it out there. Well, let's make it one. We can't talk about the real shit that's going on. We might get something done.
Anything to divide, and it happens on every fucking main thing that comes out on the news or any viral thing. The latest one I've noticed was Oliver Anthony in his song. Not into country, don't really give a shit. He makes great points in the song.
Yep.
But there's people ripping it apart saying, if you look at his family name or, all these different things, I'm like, yet another point of contention between people is you're ripping this guy apart. It looks like he made a video in his backyard in Alabama or Virginia, whatever. And like that would be the same as me just like recording myself singing some dumb song in my backyard, and it's for some reason blowing up, and then people being like, oh, it's a CIA op, obviously. Be like, okay.
Some people would probably say that. You just have to be strong enough to be like, it's not.
And I don't know if it is or not, but it's just another point of argument.
But okay, so now my counter argument to that is I go, okay, so I have to start looking through the lens like that on everything that comes through, because it's real easy to see major news sources and be like, okay, clearly that's a psyop. They just want to, or it's at least, if anything else, it's a distraction. This guy, like you said, genuinely looks like he just played a song for a group of friends in the park and it went viral, and everybody's picking it apart the same way that a lot of us and these people in this community do about everything they see on the news. And I'm like, that is probably a fucking normal dude who did not want to get famous and just wrote a song for his people in the community that he knew was going to resonate with how they felt. It's like if you did the same thing, Joe, and people started ripping you apart, I'd be like, how the fuck are they doing this? Like, I know my brother. Like, he's not, that wasn't a side. He was fucking hammered.
What was he saying that was so bad? I don't know this country song.
No, so it's oh my God.
It's a song called The Rich Guys North of Richmond.
Yeah, okay. That was another thing that was pointed out, is that rich guys north of Richmond. Washington, D.C. is directly north of Richmond, Virginia. That's who he's fucking talking about. I don't understand.
It was a country song talking about them fucking us through the pandemic and lying to us and all this.
Your dollar ain't shit, and I'm working overtime just to fucking, it's just a general country song, but he actually made good points instead of talking about his dog and his guns and his truck or whatever country people.
So he was just shitting on the government and how they handled the pandemic and everything. Okay, cool. So just real quick, I went to Boston last week to see my family for a very sad reason, but I was there for 4 days and my entire family's vaccinated. I've talked about it on the show a million times. They all voted for Biden, and every single one of them that I talked to was like, we found common ground. They were like, I think Biden's a shitty president. Like, I don't know why people think that he's so amazing. And they all got vaccinated because they had to for their jobs. And they were like, I 100% agree with you. Well, they call me Jenny. Everyone calls me Jenny because I grew up there. But they're like, Jenny, I totally get what you're saying. Like, I only got vaccinated because of my job and I thought it was the right thing to do. But I did not get my kids vaccinated. And this is my brother-in-law talking, and my sister and my mom and my mom's boyfriend.
Huge.
They were like, I don't give a shit if anyone gets vaccinated. I hated that people were out there saying that people should die. I think that's so wrong. They were not on that side, but they were getting vaccinated in the medical field. And they were just like, yeah, I'll do it, but I don't care if anybody else does it. That's how a lot of people felt. And they said that a lot of their friends felt the same way, and their families. And then my mom's boyfriend was a diehard Democrat and is like a diehard Trump supporter now, which I also think is not the right way to go.
Hilarious.
But it was super funny talking to him. And we did agree on some things. I said, I think the media was just slamming him on purpose just to, throw Biden in there. And he's like, oh yeah, 100%, with the Boston accent and stuff. But they were just like completely different than what the media portrays people from the East Coast to be. All of them were very kind and understanding and said, I got it for my reasons, but I don't really care at all what anybody else does.
No, and that's the thing we always talk about, is that middle ground of non-extremists that makes up the majority of the population here. And that's the most of those are the silent majority, and that is what the state is terrified of, is that we all kind of do think the same way. They just promote these extremist views to be like, this is what this side says, this is what this side says, now fight about it.
But both sides see that. So watching them, who are completely opposite of the way we behaved during the pandemic, you and I at least, and Ben, and I'm sure you too, Katillist, we all behaved very differently than my entire family in Massachusetts. However, we all saw the media the exact same way and behaved appropriately towards others. But the media was still telling us that people are out there saying, I want you to die, like, fuck everybody, you have to get the vax, and everyone who doesn't is disgusting. And like, nobody thought that, though. The media was just obviously, and we knew this, just lying the whole time, trying to get some people to think that way. And I know a lot of people did, but that is not how most people felt, in my opinion.
They definitely succeeded in almost every single family member that I have, because they all turned their back on me. But let's rewind. That's fucking great that you guys were able to find that common ground, because that is why we do what we do, is because people should be able to have Discord conversations. Like, we should be able to fucking sit down and not agree about shit, and at the end of the day still give each other a fucking hug and say I love you and walk away.
Yeah, and say, I don't care why you do what you do. I never once, when my daughter was little, said, oh, yeah, we can have a play date, but are they fully vaccinated for polio and DTaP? Like, nobody fucking said that. No one cares. They're just like, okay, do you shoot heroin? Because I don't think that's cool.
That was a fun thing about 2020 or 2021 through 22 is requiring you to have a shot to work at a place. When in your entire life have you gone in for an interview and they're like, are you up to date on your DTaP and TDAP or whatever? Like
the medical field, you might, if you're a nurse or doctor, something like that.
I know, but this wasn't just medical field shit.
No,
this was
it was
other places.
Yeah, I get that.
Like government workers and shit. They're like, have you had your COVID vaccine? No.
Well, the funny part is that they were tighter on security about this whole COVID vaccine that was completely new and untested and blah, 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 than they ever were for, like, I don't know, proven immunizations that have been around for years and years and years. When we all used to go hang out as kids in the 90s, nobody fucking asked if you were vaccinated beforehand. Hell, our parents had chickenpox parties so that you could just get it the fuck over with and not have to go get the new vaccination. It's like,
it worked.
And it fucking worked. And you weren't called a bad fucking parent. Oh my God, you're giving your children chickenpox? Yeah, the fuck I am. Because I don't want them to ever have to get it when they're older. It turns bad. And I don't want them getting a jibby jab that maybe I don't quite trust yet because it's new. It's
I mean, I was hospitalized for chickenpox, but still, it's totally cool. I was like a 1 in a million thing.
That sucks.
That's just because you're a little bitch.
Oh my God.
Hey, I got Rye syndrome from chickenpox, apparently, or aspirin. We've talked about it on the show before.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
No.
I almost died, but I'm a faggot
Oh.
apparently.
Almost died. Shit.
Can we
Okay.
back
I'm
to
just kidding. What'd you say? You cut out there.
can we am I cutting out?
A little bit. You're clipping a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, I was wondering because I've tried to interject a few times and it's like, oh, they can't
Yeah,
hear.
it's like it's cutting you out or something. It's weird.
Oh, sorry. We'll let you go.
No, can you hear me though?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can,
yeah.
yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, so back to Oliver Anthony. What is funny is like all the fucking Republican politicians that were at the fucking debate, they were like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's what Oliver Anthony's talking about. And he was like, actually, you dumb motherfuckers. I'm talking about y'all too. Like, I'm not fucking excluding you from this equation. I was talking about you stupid motherfuckers and the Democrats. Like, I don't trust any of you dumb motherfucking tie wearing pieces of shit. And it was lovely. Now, I did
Brilliant.
he was just on Joe Rogan, and I have to go listen to that. And I cannot wait to hear it. But what I do love is everybody wants to call this guy a shill. They threw fucking 6-figure, if not 7-figure contracts at this guy. And he said, I don't want your fucking money and I don't want to be in the spotlight. However, that doesn't really make sense if he just went on Joe Rogan. That's kind of like a, because isn't that like a goal of every podcaster? Like, oh my God, what if I got on Joe Rogan?
Oh no, that would suck. If I went on Rogan, I'd just be like, oh yeah.
It can go both ways, but if he has a great message that he wants a lot of people to hear, Joe Rogan is the best place to do that. But yeah, sure, he could also want to be making tons of money too. So again,
And the uber
could go both ways.
conspiracist outlook on that, the ones that think all celebrities are dudes, is that, oh, he's getting paid from black funds or black op funds. He's
Black
making his
funds,
money. Oh, I oops. Yeah, he's getting his money.
Getting
It's
some
just
of that
not,
Oprah Winfrey money.
yeah, it's just under the table, you know. He's getting paid by black ops or whatever. So yeah, nothing we can prove. We can just speculate and have fun.
Do you remember, Ben, what you were talking about before you talk about before we transferred to Oliver Anthony? Because I had a great fucking point that I wanted to make and I was about to write it down. And then you guys went into Oliver Anthony and my dumbass fucking is so high that I wrote down Oliver Anthony. And
The only thing that I can remember thinking of is looking through the lens on that country song that was written, how we can always look at things as a psyop. But in reality, I think that a lot of the things that we do see are normal people, and we're so mistrusting now as a result of everything that's happened, which I don't begrudge anyone for distrusting anything that comes across what they see. However, I do think that a lot of it is true, and that's exactly the place they wanted us, is to discount the things that are true and maybe trust the things that are not true. We're always in a spot of not knowing what was true and what wasn't. Go ahead.
That's an exact quote.
fucking point that you make right there, because I'm not gonna say that I fell for it because I was just having fun with it, because I'm like, this girl is most likely probably a psyop, but this is great and I'm gonna run with it. And I did this whole thing about how I had a crush on Tiffany Gomez, the fucking girl that was on the plane that was like, that motherfucker is not real. Right?
I'm glad you segued into that because I was going to bring that up in your weird crush. But yeah, what do you think about that? Go ahead.
The girl that came out as Tiffany Gomez is definitely not her, because there is some autistic badass out there that ran a facial recognition from the surveillance videos from the airport and the survey and the videos of her, and it was an 89% mismatch.
Oh, the one that came out and made the statement or whatever. Because I looked at that too and I was like, that is a different person. Like I can tell just with my own little peepers.
Yes, I did too. And, you know, it could be that that girl was a crisis actor. And that's what everybody was saying at first. People were zooming in saying that that she was wearing a mask and whatnot. And you know what I'm thinking is like, it's really weird that I have an iPhone And my videos come out better than how we're seeing each other right now through this Zoom. And yet all these people on this fucking airplane, their video cameras can't like come up with something good enough for me to even crop on Photoshop without having to like go in and like physically erase shit. Like, so this is like horrible quality shit. So was this girl even real, and did this even take place?
Maybe somebody was recording the one video, as far as I'm aware, that they got, the famous one, looked like it was taken with a Motorola Razr from like 2004. It doesn't look like an iPhone or Android video.
No, not it, bro. Like, we have good quality shit. And that's what people in our community need to start understanding. When we're looking at these fucked up quality videos, you gotta figure like most people have better than an iPhone 7, and an iPhone 7 can capture some goddamn good quality video.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I look back at some of the like memories on Facebook, and you look at the older phones, and you can tell the difference. It's like, ooh, wow, the cameras have come a long way since then. But then it makes sense when you're talking about oh, I'm gonna add another one in here. UFOs. When you look at all the quality of UFO videos, and that's explainable. Have you ever tried to take a picture of a fucking plane that's 30,000 feet in the air? It looks exactly like how you'd expect from a phone. So I don't. I take that into consideration, but with this specific video, it was such shit quality, and it looked like they were like 5 feet from the lady. Like,
yeah, they were
what
not
are you using
her, right? And that's why I was like, when people were like pointing out, like, you really have a crush on this girl? Like, this person's clearly wearing a mask. And I'm like, one, why would you have to put a mask on somebody if it's somebody that we've never fucking seen before in our entire fucking life? Why make a mask? So they can live out the rest of their life? I mean,
and then come out later and be like, yeah, that's me.
right. And then you have this bitch came out on fucking, excuse my language, but I'm from the 90s and that's how I fucking talk. So this bitch comes out on fucking another Instagram video yesterday at a Dodgers game. And not only does this chick make the Jumbotron, but she also happens to catch a fly ball. I am calling absolute bullshit.
Oh my God. I did not see that one. That is so over the top stupid.
Yes.
Oh my God. What else can we come up with? I mean, at this point, like, it seems like it's weekly, maybe monthly, but it's about weekly now, where something crazy goes viral and everybody tears it apart. And then guess what happens? It goes away and nobody talks about it again.
It is.
So what?
And that is why, can I actually plug right now?
Oh yeah, plug away, bro.
That is why, because I'm shadow banned like a motherfucker on Instagram right now, but I just made a fucking little post that says I'm looking for a co-host to do a weekly breakdown on whatever the weekly psyop is.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I probably can't do that, but you don't want me in there anyway. Yeah, it does seem kind of weekly now. And I mean, you've seen those memes with like the bingo cards, conspiracy bingo cards for the year, and it's like, oh, it was Bud Light in February or March or whatever, and then it was this. Oh, the submarine was a big one. Have you heard anything about that submarine lately? Nah.
No, of course.
It's disappeared.
And Maui's going to be forgotten about too, and those poor motherfuckers are still going to be out there devastated. Their lives are completely fucking destroyed. And I think that's why I had to go on a bunch of nature walks this week with my shoes off and just ground myself,
Forest bathing, yeah.
But yeah, man, the shit has been fucking crazy. It's been fucking with me a lot lately. But there's hope because the white hats are in control. Donald Trump is our savior. He just got arrested, so now all the black people are going to vote for him because they trust people that have been arrested more than they trust people that. Anyways,
holy shit,
racist.
I like China.
Well, so before we get out of here, I always like to close on your thoughts on the next few months, maybe.
Maybe the next psyop. What do you think the next psyop's gonna be?
Well, yeah. So I heard Jay Widener was talking about how a lot of people were saying in the next month, like specifically in the next month, that there's going to be a lot of shit disclosed and all this stuff. I'm so tired of hearing that. That's been happening for the history of ever.
I heard that
Like-
too. It's gonna be between fucking Labor Day and Halloween that something's gonna be disclosed that Biden is gonna have to step down over.
Yeah, we've been hearing that for like the last 3 years. So I don't like, but what do you, as your closing statement, like, what do you see going on? Like, oh, you're talking and I can't hear you. See, you did that weird thing again.
Yeah, no, because I wanted to elaborate on something I said earlier and it wasn't, and you guys kept talking over me. So I was like, oh, they can't hear me.
I couldn't hear you. That is weird. No, continue, please.
I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying 5 minutes ago. You guys, I told you before we jumped on here that I smoked hash. I was smoking hash from New England. So
Well, that's that good shit. But yeah, anyway, what I was saying is just like give us your like outlook for the next till the end of the year, we'll say the arbitrary start of the new year. Like, what do you think could happen or what we could see?
all I have to say is buckle up. And if you are anywhere like me and you just look at this as something as entertaining and don't let it affect your day-to-day life, because we hear all this shit and we see all this shit on social media and we hear it in the news, but when you step out of your doorstep and you talk to your neighbors and you go to work, that is not our reality. You know, we might know one or two people that we work with that wear a mask or something like that. Let them have their reality. Don't even try to wake them up anymore. Just let them do what they have to do. And you know what? Just try to be positive about what you can do in your day-to-day life. And God damn it, tune into White Rabbit Podcast.
God damn it, do it. And I agree 100%. I'm never going to name names or anything, but I know exactly what you're saying. You go outside and deal with the world every day. That is not the reality you see on the TV at all. It's wildly different. I mean, we live in a weird spot where maybe that's more pronounced, but I mean, we went to Denver last week. Still wasn't the same reality.
I live in the state capital of California, bro. And I'm telling you, like, it is not the way that it is being portrayed.
Yeah, not at all. So make your own reality, basically. And that's a great segue because next week we're going to have Skidmark, aka Sir Seat Sitter, aka Chris from, oh, fucking hell. What's his show's name?
Asking me.
God damn it, Chris. I'm sorry.
Good job, Sam Tripley.
I know. I've been drinking. I'm sorry, Chris. Oh, it's fuck.
He's
I
gonna
was
have
thinking
us next week.
I was thinking Booberry because Booberry's coming on too, and he's from Behind the Schemes. Chris is his
Abs in a six
abs
pack.
is six pack. God damn, how did I forget that? Anyway, we're gonna have them on next week, and Chris did a great fucking call into OBDM last week about kind of the nature of reality type shit, kind of one of our bread and butter topics. So that should be fun. We got Charlie Robinson coming back on. Ryder Lee talking about UFO cult. So should be an interesting month, and we're glad to be back in the saddle. But Katillist, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can give you money and stuff.
Yeah. So you can find me at all major platforms other than YouTube, of course. But man, I just switched over to RSS feed from Podbean, and now I'm back on Spotify. I'm back on all the places that I got kicked off from. So it is a fucking blessing. And I advise everybody to stop using Zoom because they are going to start, they're actually recording everything, and they're without your permission, they're going to start taking all of this stuff, and basically they can recreate your show without you even knowing about it. So there will be a legit bad if you keep using this without the actual you.
I believe that. And I guess I'll just have to start getting StreamYard again or something.
My bad. WhiteRabbitPodcast.com for all the merch. And I'm heavily shadow banned on all your social media platforms. But, you know, White Rabbit Podcast, you'll find me.
Hell yeah. We'll put your links in the show notes. And thanks for coming on, dude. It's great to be back. We haven't done a show in a while. It's awesome. You're our premier guest for our, it's not really a new season, but we're back. We're back, baby.
Love it.
All right. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Jen's voice, for being back. We love y'all. We'll see you next week.